So I didn't have a clue what to do. I was going to get a ghostwriter for a start, just going back even a step further. And then I thought, what's the point in that? That book's all about being authentic and genuine and raw, and then you're going to get somebody to polish it all up. So I wrote my journey, took about 3 or 4 months, was dead easy, enjoyed that part of the book. Then I sent it to an editor. So I just went online on LinkedIn, said I need an editor. Somebody come back. Cost me about $5,000, I think.
Just for the editor?
Just for the editor. Cost me about $5,000. Now, what I thought would happen is I would pass the editor my blurb, right? Just a load of words on a paper, which had no structure. I didn't know how to do that. I thought I'd get back from an editor a book.
Right.
And what I got back from the editor, and this is no disrespect, the editor, he helped me a lot, Martin Morrison. But what I got back was a polished version of what I'd given. And then when I started to read that book and digest it, it was just completely unstructured. I was repeating myself in some areas. I was babbling in other areas. So when I got it back from him after took him about 6 weeks, I think, to edit it, maybe even 8 weeks. When I got it back from him, I was like really disheartened. And again, I stress nothing, not because of him, I was disheartened with what I'd done. Because as I read it, I felt like it sounded stupid. And of course, I'm out of my comfort zone here. I don't know that I can write a book. I still don't know if I can write a book, but I didn't have the confidence to know that I could write in any way, shape or form. So when it come back, I was a little bit down and I wondered whether actually it might just be some good memoirs that I keep. And my kids can have it, my grandkids can have it. People will know how Sedulo was built in the future. I thought I might just stop there. Didn't know what it was, but then I started to go again, have a look at it, restructure it. And I had to go through each chapter, and I'm one of these people that when I've got something, I'm like better at doing 90% of something now than 100% of something later. I'm not that kind of person. So I'm not great at the detail. So that was the hardest part of writing the book for me, because then I had to go through from a reader's perspective and go, I've put that, and in chapter 7 I can't mention it again. Actually, just take that out because it's no good. And of course, not everybody, but you're expected to write 50 to 80,000 words, or 50 to 100,000 words when you're writing a book. And mine was about 45,000, so I found I'd put rubbish in there so then I started to go down the route of extend that sentence a bit, add to that story a bit more, but it was taken away from the book. So then what happened was I actually started chopping at the book and it went to 40,000 words, and I thought, can't send it out, but at least it reads better. That was about another 2 months. So then I thought, I quite like the book now, there's some little bits in it, and I was starting to go to a few more events, learning. There's stories in there like analogies of like crayfish, or there's little things in there, and then we started the podcast.
And were you using a book on how to write a book during this process?
No, at that point I felt a bit lost, if I'm honest. And anyway, so I handed over this manuscript, I guess you call it, and she came back with it typeset. And again, massive respect for Teddy for taking a chance on my book, but it came back and I just looked at it and thought, this isn't me. Anyway, so I used some of the guys here to do a typeset, and we sent it off. And at that point then, I'm waiting for the book. And the book comes, and I open it up in my house, and I've been told by somebody else, the day the book comes and you hold your book, there's going to be like this amazing feeling. So I was like, fuck, the book's here. I opened it up, and I was like, wow. Like, I was hugely disappointed. And I was like,
disappointed?
So there's so many reasons I was disappointed, but I didn't think that the manuscript was strong enough. I didn't feel like the typesetting was correct. I didn't feel like the way the pages were. So now I was looking at the detail of what it'd be like to read a book. I felt like it was a Word document on a book that was too big, so my book looked thin, so I felt like a pamphlet. Right.
So actually you were saying earlier that you don't think you're the kind of person that normally goes for detail, and this has made you become someone that's now obsessed with detail.
Yeah, and that's, yeah, you're right. So then all of a sudden I looked at it and I was like, I can't put this out. So I spoke to the publisher, like I say, I was disappointed with the detail in the book, the feel of the book, the smell of the book. It didn't smell like a book to me.
Right.
It was thin because it was on 9x6. And it was already only maybe 55,000 words, where it's 50 to 100 is kind of your range. So it was already at the smaller range. So it was thin. Now it was on 9x6, 9" by 6" size. It felt like a pamphlet.
Right.
Didn't smell like a book you pick up in a bookstore. Kind of smelled like a textbook you might pick up, white paper. Didn't like the way, and so all of a sudden then I was like, I wouldn't say I was quite heartbroken, but I was very dejected at that point. Anyway, my publisher said, look, we can change this, we can do this, blah, 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 blah. So I left it a few days because I'd kind of built myself up to, as someone who very rarely reflects on what they've achieved or I always look into the next thing. I kind of had it was going to be like a big, like a eureka moment where you like go, wow, I've got a book. And here I was, like, stood with it in my kitchen, like, fuck, I hate this book. I would never buy this book in a million years. And it doesn't actually reflect me. So we worked then with the marketing team here, spoke to the publisher and said, we're gonna like create a load of alterations to this book, and we're just gonna go with our gut. Spoke to Neil and Adam here, and they was like, we've never done a book, of course. And I was like, let's give it a go. So we got the publisher said, here's the software you need to buy. So we got that, and off we went. Those guys just spent like, we got a load of books from our library here in the Manchester office. I was like, I like that about that. That looks quality, that looks quality. Because I felt like this book had to represent Sedulo, and we're a high-end brand.
Yeah.
We're a quality brand, so you've got to pick the book up, and you've got to feel like it's a high-end book in terms of the gloss, the paper there, the way it feels, the design, the typesetting. So off we went. Anyway, once we decided what we did, the Adam and Neil spent like 3 days, like 18-hour days, just because they could see how stressed I was with and disappointed I was with what I'd kind of done. And they put together then something that electronically looked like a book. Then we agreed the paper and that kind of stuff, resized it at 8x5 or 8.5 by 5.5. So that got a bigger thickness. It went from about 175 pages to about 240, 250. That was it. And then, so that was it. Then we sent it off, and a week later, then I got the book back.